Hello, everybody, if you're there. As usual, having some issues with the streaming software. I'm just gonna double check that we actually are live. Oh, yeah. Okay, I think I am live on Instagram. I decided this week to do it differently. I'm just like live on Instagram through my phone because it was so difficult to use the streaming software. You guys don't need to know my tech troubles, but it is quite the crapshoot trying to schedule lives and then go live within the scheduled event on like Facebook and YouTube. So I'm trying to do that so that I make it easier for you guys to be able to get here because you'll actually, get a notification and you can sign up for the lives, etc. You don't just have to be like roaming around on random social networks to get on. I can hear myself in the other room, so I assume that I am actually live on all the ways. Oh, probably not on Facebook actually. I think I need to give my go ahead on Facebook to go live. Just 1 second. Oh my gosh. Am I live on YouTube?
You were live on
I
YouTube.
mean on Facebook.
No. It's like save changes then go live now.
I know I did that. It says save changes and then it goes there. So choose image. I already did that. Um Just 1 second, guys. If you're hanging out, just give me a moment. I'm just gonna try to chill on this. It's requesting that I put a thumbnail up, and it won't let me go live unless I have a thumbnail for you, apparently. And oh no, 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 no. This is why. I got it. 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 No, I don't got it. Why isn't it working?
Because you're live already, right? Like it's
But am I live on Facebook?
no, you're going
Okay.
live. Okay.
Now I'm going
Cool.
live on Facebook.
Very good. Love it.
And we're only 3 minutes late. Hey, that's actually good because, anyways, enough with that. That's not what you're here to talk about. We are not here to talk about streaming live and how to do that efficiently. If we were, then you should probably not take my advice because I'm not an expert in that. But what I am an expert in is overcoming microtraumas. So, having little things, little discomforts, little traumas happen in your life consistently, either from having a family that didn't, treat you with love and respect and kindness, just generally speaking, or all the time, which is all families, if they didn't do that all the time. But if things weren't made up for, if healing didn't happen, if it was consistent little, disrespects, little kind of emotional damages, little just even just slights, or even just being in a culture that is, not very welcoming and open and supportive and nurturing of women, anything like that, these little hurts they build up over time and they create what we call microtraumas. And microtraumas can negatively affect your body physically. And they can definitely negatively affect your mental, emotional, and even spiritual ability to lose weight or be in the body that you feel is authentically yours. Your desire to be in a different kind of body, whether that's to lose weight. Some people that's to actually gain weight, to put on some muscle, pack on some muscle and carry more fat. The majority of us are usually trying to shed extra weight that we are hanging on to. But some of us, our physical challenges are actually to gain weight, and all of that comes down to basically our relationship with ourselves mixed with our relationship with the world. So it's kind of like twofold. And so these little micro traumas can really hinder us. They can really get in the way. They can get in the way of anything, sort of intangible like motivation, or like self care, or, things like being, mentally, emotionally, spiritually balanced in order to take the 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 steps towards getting in your healthiest self, whether it's eating healthy because you're not, eating from a purely emotional place, or taking your body out and giving it the activity that it needs because coming from like a self-care place and not like a punishing place. All of these things may really make a huge impact on whether or not you can make like health goals and get to them, even in a very traditional sense. But it directly impacts, these microtraumas, they directly impact your physical body through a lot of means, but they basically come down to epigenetics, which is a new study of genetics. And they're finding that weight has very little to do with DNA, which I think we've always known because the obesity epidemic is very new to our culture. So it's not genetic. It doesn't have anything to do with our DNA. And the scientists have been really struggling to figure out why it's so difficult, nearly impossible for people to actually lose weight consistently or sustainably, or even at all for some people. And they're finding that it comes down to there's more solutions or more reasons to believe that it's epigenetics than genetics itself, which makes it really difficult if, we don't know how to kind of change these things. If we don't know how to change our epigenetics, then this is the reason that losing weight is so difficult. And I hypothesize with my own research and with my experimentation and with helping other people get into their best bodies that it is our external environment, the way that we're relating to our external environment, mixed with our internal environment. So the way that we're relating to ourselves and how authentic we allow ourselves to be based on how authentic we have been allowed to be. So if you come from a great family and a great culture and you've been allowed to just be yourself naturally and grow, then you will automatically, like almost assuredly, be in your naturally best body. So our best bodies, they're natural. That's how children are for the most part. Children also can be carry microtrauma. I was overweight as a child because my microtrauma was quite astute. My microtrauma wasn't even micro. I had microtrauma, but I also had major traumas. So these things can directly impact our physical form through epigenetics. So today we're actually talking about how to actively love yourself thin. So how to start on the heart set layer, on the emotional layer, to actually be yourself and create the body that you would feel most comfortable and that you feel is your authentic form. So, there are a few ways I could explain this. I think that maybe I'll tell you a story. So, my parents both suffer from mental health issues and addictions, and I had a whole bunch of microtraumas. And I healed them independently. So I struggled with my weight my whole life. And then I healed these microtraumas independently when I became independent, and I studied in the East and then I studied in the West, researching both kind of modalities of healing and goal achievement, etc., and happiness in general. And I independently healed my microtrauma, which resulted in my best body just appearing, There was no effort, what I was eating was what I wanted to eat. What I was doing activity wise was what I wanted to do. There was no restrictions, no nothing. And, the weight just melted off of me. And then I got into a serious relationship, and it triggered a whole bunch of familial microtrauma, as well as my partner was suffering from a bunch of microtrauma as well. So, what happened when all of this familial microtrauma came out. So remember, I'd healed my independent microtrauma, got into my best body, and then my familial microtrauma started to emerge, and then I gained a bunch of weight again. So the reason that we gain weight from microtraumas are myriad, but we can actually physically gain weight from emotional microtraumas because we are scared to appear vulnerable, because these are definitely mine. Some reasons that I definitely feel are real for me, especially because I have a very small frame. So appearing like very small, appearing vulnerable was very uncomfortable for me. I was raised in a house that was, and a culture that was made to make me believe that I needed to be stronger. I was with a man whom I felt like I needed to be so strong for. So appearing bigger and actually carrying emotional baggage around in my body became a reality. Now, I have lost about 17 pounds of that weight, which is great. And I have done it through healing and healing our emotional heart set, healing our emotional intelligence is what we're going to do today. So I hope you have a pen and a paper because we're going to do narrative exposure therapy for loving yourself thin. So actively loving yourself into a body that you love. Because surprise, surprise, you can't hate yourself into a body that you love. You can't hate yourself into a life that you love. You can't hate, your friends into friendships that you love. Just like everything with our bodies comes down to a relationship we have with ourselves. And I'll explain why. So, the heart set layer, your heart set is just like your mindset. So, your mindset is a filter by which you see everything in the world. So, your heart set is how you feel about things in the world. It's a filter by which you allow feelings in, and it's a filter by which you understand your own feelings, how you relate to your own feelings, and it's a filter by which you allow your feelings out into the world. So, ideally, what you would, the inside heart set you would feel is aligned with the personal powers of what I call a freedom and fierceness. So, freedom is the ability to express yourself, the ability to freely express yourself, be open with other people. And fierceness is the ability to truly feel how you feel. And this, sometimes, a lot of the times, actually, when we don't even realize that we can't feel ourselves. We think that it's like a silly thing to say. Like, what do you mean I can't feel my feelings? Of course I feel my feelings. But a lot of us struggle really, really hard to have that fierceness, to genuinely feel exactly what we are feeling. And definitely almost all of us are lacking in the freedom to really express that. And what happens when we're lacking that fierceness and freedom within to really feel how we're feeling and to feel that that's legitimate, not that like there's something wrong with us, so we have all these bad feelings, but to feel like this is legitimate, I legitimately feel this way, which means there's a damn good reason, and feel free enough to kind of stand by that feeling and that fierceness to really feel your own truth within that. The outside, the outside equivalent to that is being able to be compassionate. So it's being able to imagine how somebody else would feel. And if we take these things away from ourselves, we don't take them away from ourselves, but if these things are taken from us through a process that I call denting, then it cuts us off from a very big part of reality, a very big part of our reality, but it's also a very big part of the outside reality, other people's reality, being able to connect to other people. And this really negatively impacts our bodies, our ability to be in our best health, and our ability to actually love ourselves thin. So, love ourselves actively. And again, this can be like, this isn't just like, a manifestation thing. Like, if you're truly, walking in alignment with your best emotional self, then you aren't going to be carrying on to, emotional baggage in the form of fat, etc., that you'll lose weight, you'll be comfortable appearing vulnerable, and therefore that is so. This is directly attributed to actually making choices, the healthy choices that are, stereotypically, or the traditional methods that weight loss is prescribed, like eating healthy or, having healthy activity. I'm telling you from experience, like, if you're an emotional wreck, like, you're not going to be like taking excellent care of yourself. And you really need to be able to do that in order to, have an exceptional body. So, um, the way that this gets messed up, because your perfectly natural health in, as a baby, and most of us in youth, if you struggled with childhood, being overweight in childhood like I did, then maybe you didn't actually experience the fierceness and freedom of youth. You were already had microtrauma at an early age. But for the most part, that perfect health, that's still within you. So that perfect aligned health, that's still totally within you. And it is totally, you're totally, you can still get back to that. That perfect natural health is still within you. What happens to drive you away from that perfect natural health is actually what I call emotional IQ dents. So they're people and other people around you who are not emotionally balanced. They're out of touch with their own freedom and their own fierceness inside to really feel how they're truly feeling. That makes it so that they have a lack of compassion. And then what happens is they end up harming you. They end up emotionally harming you and creating dents in your heart set, dents in your emotional intelligence. And that, if left untreated, becomes a deficit. And when you're living in a deficit, then it's very difficult to be vulnerable. It's very difficult to allow, emotional hurts from the past to go. So you do end up carrying it as extra weight. And it's very, very difficult to really, truly love ourselves. So, today, what we're going to do in our narrative exposure therapy is we're going to let go of these emotional intelligence dents. So, we're going to dig up in our past, and it's time to get your pen and paper. We're going to dig up in our past little emotional intelligence dents, little hurts, little ways that we felt that it was not safe to appear vulnerable. So any kind of fears and discomfort associated, with appearing vulnerable, with allowing this weight to actually drop off you, with being seen for being as delicate as you are, for being told to ignore your own emotions. We're going to go back in the past and look at, different ways that this happened to us, different ways that we were made to feel like this. And we're just going to journal that out and how it impacted our fierceness, our freedom, our ability to walk in our true forms, and really be seen for, how, delicate we are, how small we are. And then we are going to move into the present. So now I want you to write about how you're learning and how you are growing from this, how now you're able to really grasp on to how you feel, to your own freedom to feel how you truly feel, that fierceness to really stand up for how you feel, being able to express it and really be firm in the fact that it is true, that it is true to us, and that it can't be argued with, and you can't be gaslit, or that how you feel is genuine and it matters. We're going to talk about how that is changing your body now, allowing yourself to be vulnerable and allowing you to take the steps necessary to get into the best health of your life. And then we're going to move on to writing in the future, and how in the future this is going to impact your weight. These new ways of being, this fierceness, this freedom, this ability to be compassionate with other people, but also with yourself, to actively love yourself, to grow into the person that you genuinely want to be, for allowing yourself to appear vulnerable, for allowing your genuine, naturally healthy body to emerge. Just gonna journal that out, how that is going to continuously get better for you. And I'm really glad that you joined me this week. I am 3 weeks into my 6-week journey, and I actually made a big boo-boo last week. I didn't love myself actively. I felt like somebody else's therapies, because I do middies and roomies, which are based on meditation and hypnosis, but they're hyperjacked for efficacy. I've been using my traditional, my classic ones for the first 2 weeks of this challenge, and I've been losing weight consistently. And this past week, I decided I was going to use somebody else's meditations and hypnosis for weight loss. And they were more classic based, they were more traditional based, they were like based on like, food you eat and your metabolism and all of these like super traditional ways to lose weight. So I actually didn't had like a little bit of like a self-doubt moment. I thought maybe these would be even better because they're so classic, they're so like focused on the things that the weight loss industry is focused on, and they didn't work at all. So I didn't lose any weight last week. So I'm really kind of peeved with myself that I didn't test out my new therapies. So my new therapies are for familial microtraumas instead of the independent microtraumas. So I promise that next week I will be using those ones instead of somebody else's or my classic traditional ones for independent weight loss. I'll be trying out my interdependent weight loss therapies this week. So I hope that you tune in next week, same time, same place, to check out exactly what happened from self-love, body positivity, eating what I want, doing whatever activity I want, and dropping pounds, and see how many pounds I can drop on the interdependent new therapies that I'm creating for you guys and for myself. So I hope to see you next week.